our spirit? What is it? Where does it go? Are we able to see them using our mind's eye? If so, just what can spirit teach us? Welcome to Schooled Thru Spirit. Host DeEtte Renee is a certified psychic medium and master teacher of psychic and mediumship development through LWISSD. DeEtte was born knowing spirit and now is here to help you better understand the spirit world. And now your host, DeEtte Renee.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is DeEtte here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB.com. Now, this is a show where I talk to you about different things of spirituality to begin with, well, whatever spirit's given me. And then we go on to my guest. Now, my guest today is Miss Ashley Moreno, and she is fabulous because not only is she a paranormal investigator, she's also a host here with WLTK-DB, and I've been wanting to bring her on forever. Now, a little secret here, guys. This is tape recorded early. So sorry about this, but it is a recording. Why? Because as this is playing, I'm in Mexico with my granddaughter getting ready to board a plane to head my butt back to Wisconsin. So this is the way I wanted to do it. I just didn't want to skip a show. I wanted to show up. I wanted to be able to do this and do it for you guys still. So we're going to run this a little bit different, okay? So I'm going to talk about the message Spirit has given me. Then I'm going to do our 5-card pull, and then I'm going to go into Ashley, okay? So it is switching it up. Feel free to still comment, still talk, because trust me, I'm going to read all those comments as soon as I get off the plane, and I know Ashley will too. And you know what? If you need questions, we're going to get back to you on those answers. So again, guys, I've used the big book of Neil. I'm telling you, this is going to be a big old man crush if I ever get to meet this man, because I'm going to have to tell him, your book is mind-blowing. And it's really cool because with this, I was blown away. Yeah, I've already flipped the page open, guys. I flipped it during, running the credits. And it's so amazing because this I have been dealing with today. Honestly, I'm recording this on a day that I made a major post about myself and my life and just part of my journey, okay? And it mind blows me how Spirit really comes in their messages, okay? Now, remember, Neil is the gentleman that wrote Conversations with God. So sometimes they get a little churchy, but you know what? I still am a full believer, and I do believe in God. I believe in all of it. So bear with me a little bit. But it says, before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. That's a famous line that Jesus had stated. But it says essential truth. You spent a lifetime denying who and what you really are. You see goodness and compassion within you, but you deny it. You see wisdom within you, but you deny it. You see infinite possibilities within you, but you deny it. And you see and experience God within you, yet you deny it. You deny that I am within you, that I am you. And in this, you deny me, my rightful and obvious place. I tell you this, before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. But your very thoughts will you deny me? Every thought of yourself as smaller than you really are is a denial of me. By your very words, will you deny me? Every word about yourself that puts you down is a denial of me. By your very actions, will you deny me? Every action flowing through yourself that plays out a role of not good enough or lack or insufficiency of any kind is a denial indeed. Not just in thought, but just in word, but in deed. You know in your heart that I am with you, in you, that we are one, yet you deny me. You say I exist, all right, but away from you, way out there somewhere. And the farther away you imagine me to be, the farther away you step from your own truth. Do not allow your life to represent anything but the grandest version of the greatest vision you've ever had about you, about who you are. Now, what is the greatest vision you've ever had about yourself? Wow, that's pretty powerful, isn't it? Astronomically powerful. And I will tell you what, I have done this. Oh, I have done this forever. I have denied me forever. I have denied myself. I have denied who I am. I have denied my worth for eons. I've always sat, I'm getting to joke up here. I've always sat there thinking that everybody else was on a pillar, everybody else was on a pedestal, and that I was below everybody. And I'll tell you what, that simply isn't true. I can remember not that long ago, and it was in, I believe it was in December, maybe early January, where I had a conversation with somebody. And I'm not going to talk about the whole conversation, but there was a part of this conversation where they literally looked at me and they said, "Why do you think you do what you do?" And I started crying, just ugly cry, tears streaming down my face. It was awful. And I said, "Because I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy." In that moment, I realized I had no self-worth. In that moment, I realized I put everybody else on this pedestal that I couldn't reach. In that moment, I realized all these people I felt were so amazing, I couldn't touch. And in that moment, I realized that all of that was nonsense. All of it. In that moment, something flipped. And I went, what is wrong with my train of thought? And in that moment, I stopped denying me of my self-worth. I stopped denying me of connections, of friendships, colleagues. I started looking at these infamously famous people that I worked with. Instead of crushing on them, I went, wait a second, these are my friends. These are my colleagues. These are the people that look at me and tell me I'm a rock star. And if I'm going to put these people on a pedestal, what's wrong with them putting me on one? What's wrong with me putting myself on one? Short one anyway, because I don't want to fall off and break my neck. But it told me I had to put myself in a different place. I had to find worth within myself. And I did. I stopped looking at myself and saying that I wasn't worthy. Stopped looking at myself and saying I sucked. I stopped looking at myself and saying I was ugly, or I looked funny in that, or I wasn't deserving. And I'll tell you what, my life began to change, tremendously began to change. And it was mind blowing because all of a sudden, guys, when I found worth within myself, when I went, you know what, DeEtte, you rock. And I believed it. All of a sudden, people started calling. People were like noticing me. People were reaching out. People were going, wow, you're worthy. And the weird thing is they always believed in me. This didn't happen because, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I was on somebody's radar. This happened because I stopped blocking the rest. Because I stopped and went, you know what? I've put the work in. I've put my time in. I've done it. I've become a success. Now, a success doesn't mean that my name is on some banner of lights, although that would be nice. That doesn't mean what success is. Success to me is feeling peace within myself, knowing that, you know what? I feel pretty awesome within myself. Success was people that I thought were bigger and greater than me looked at me and gave me hugs and told me they loved me. And they looked at me and they said, I'd like to work with you because you know what? You've put the work in. You struggled and you put the work in, and it shows. And I've never been so evident of this than of recent. When I went out to get new pictures, Yes, I know. Everybody said, "DeEtte, you need new pictures because, oh my gosh, DeEtte, we don't recognize you." Obviously I've changed a little bit over the last couple of years, guys, but people were like, even though the old pictures were only 6 months old, I went, okay, okay, okay. And I found a brand new photographer and it was an awesome session. I loved it so much and it was so empowering. But when those pictures came back, I seen something different. I seen a belief in me. The face didn't change. The hair color did, but the face didn't. The body size didn't change. But what changed was the glow. What changed was my eyes were wide and they sparkled. And the confidence that I have, the belief in me showed. And it was all over the print. And every single picture, even the ones that I didn't like because I was squinting because the sun was in my eyes. And that's when I started to realize that guess what? A belief in me was finally there. I no longer deny who I am. I no longer say, oh my gosh, I am not this person or I'm not that person. Because I look at me and I believe in me. I don't look for other people to tell me those words like I used to. Because I will tell you, you will find when you don't have a belief in yourself, you look to others to tell you things about you. And they feel good temporarily. Those nice compliments that people give you, they boost your morale. They go, ooh, but it's really short lived. It is so short lived because you're going to find that if you don't have the belief in here, that you're going to need another compliment to boost you. You might make a Facebook post, you might get dialed up and for the world to see you. Who knows? I mean, trust me, guys, I have done it all. Unbeknownst to me, I've done it all. I didn't realize what I was doing, but I was seeking other people's approval of my very existence. The only thing, the only thing that I thought I rocked at was my readings or my ability to teach. That was it. And honestly, guys, that's a very small part of me. It's my work, it's my passion. Gosh, I'll tell you what, to me, there's very few things better than that. But there's so much more to me than my work. But I had to find that belief in here. And I want you to take that time to find the belief in yourself also. I want you to take that time to reach in, find those things, and go, oh my gosh, I can do this. I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to put sticky notes all around it telling you how flippin' amazing you are and how beautiful are and how you rock and how you were awesome and how far you've come. Because I want every time you look in the mirror for you to look through a star to yourself and realize that you are the star shining back on you. Because I'm going to reread part of this again, and I want this now to sink in deeper. It says you've spent a lifetime denying who and what you really are. You've seen goodness and compassion within you, but you deny it. You see wisdom within you, but you deny it. You see infinite possibilities within you, but you deny it. It's huge. It's huge. How can you deny who you are? That's the first step of this journey, guys. That is the very first step of this journey, is to stop denying who you are. Stop denying yourself. You get messages from Spirit all the time. I'm not the only gifted one here, guys, because I'll tell you what, I'm not gifted at all. I just have some abilities that I learned how to practice with. I learned how to practice. I put in the time. That's it. All of us are so special in our own way. You are special in your own way. And I want you to start seeing that. I want you to stop denying how intelligent you are. Now, intelligence always isn't from a book. And I'm not going to say everybody can read a book and get something out of it, because I'll tell you what, that's not me. I've never been one to be able to open up a book and study it and say, yep, I got this. I'm literally the person that has to live it. I'm the person that's got to sit in a class and listen to a lecture forever and take notes. If I never read the book, that's okay, because I'm going to get everything that person says. And then there's the other person that just get life, wisdom. Wisdom comes from standing up and falling down. Wisdom comes from failure, lots of it. Very few people stand up the first time and rock it out. And the ones that do have enough wisdom to listen when something tells them a message. When that person hears, you should do this, and they do it, booyah, life goes pretty smooth. You have compassion in yourself. Most of us have no problem giving compassion to other people, do we? We feel for other people. We understand other people. We give forgiveness to other people. We give love to other people. But how often do you give it back here? That's big, isn't it? That's huge. How often do you look at yourself and say, after you've fallen down, go, oh my gosh, it's okay, dust your knees off and go, I got this, let's try again. But maybe go back to the drawing board, see what we got to tweak it a little bit to come back out. How many of you look at yourself and go, God, I've done that before. Not a big deal. I'll do it again. But yet still get back up and try. That's huge, guys. That's huge. To give yourself compassion, to know it's okay to have failure, to know it's okay that this didn't work or that didn't work, and it's okay to get back up. Just like you talk to your children, huh? Or your best friend. You need to talk to yourself like that also. Because that sometimes is the biggest thing you can do for yourself, is to give compassion back here. And it's pretty rock star awesome when you do. So I want you to think about those things, guys. I want you to look at that. I want you to look at yourself, and I want you to see yourself. See the beauty of you. Go deeper. Find your truth. Find your truth of who you are. The last paragraph of this probably means more than anything. Do not allow your life to represent anything but the grandest version of the greatest vision you ever had about who you are. Now, what is that grandest vision, grandest vision of you? What is it? Sometimes we have to go back to our youth to find it. I did. And I won't deny it. I had to go back to literally what I wanted to be when I was a kid. And this might sound silly to some of you. Sounds silly to me just saying it, and sometimes a little embarrassed just to go, oh, yeah, that was me as a kid. Because as a kid, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. Didn't have a clue. Didn't have an idea in the world. I'll tell you that. Most of my life, I never knew. Not until recently. Even when I was a nurse, it's not something I wanted to do. It was something my mother told me to do, so I had a good something solid to fall back on, and that's pretty sound advice. but it wasn't my passion. So somebody told me to go back and think about when I was a kid, what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I struggled with that. I really did. And then I remembered sitting on the gymnasium floor in a, I don't know, auditorium per se. That was the gym floor with all the other kids in the school. And this is an elementary school. And I must have been, I don't know, first or second grade. I was pretty young. And I can remember, the gym was here and we had the stage there for everybody remembers the gym, the auditorium, the stage were all in one room. And that's where you ate your lunch and everything. But I can remember looking up at that stage and seeing myself swinging, this big grand swing back and forth. And I would daydream it because I was going to be that person that shone out. I was going to be that person all by myself. Can't say I was going to be a star, but I knew I was going to grow up to be something special. I just didn't know what. And I knew I wanted to be a person that stood out. That's it. It wasn't a big dream. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I wasn't like, oh, I wanted to be able to grow up to be like my mom or my dad or whatever, because I really did not know. And I can remember as the years passed, when we had talent shows, I always got up and danced by myself. Good, bad, or indifferent, I still did it. And for choir with all the rest of the kids, I always, for some reason, got the solo because I didn't have the best voice, but I showed up for it. I was in show choir, I was in cheerleading, regular choir. I always did the best I could throughout school, still not knowing what I was going to do. And I'll tell you what, I'm still trying to figure it out. But for right now, I show up every day and believe in what that little girl believed in, that someday I was going to be a person that stood out. I was going to be a person that showed up and made a difference. And I just show up, guys. That's what I do. And I believe in myself to show up. I believe in myself to say, I can do this. And I no longer deny it. Now, I can't help everybody, but I sure can try to help the people on my path. And that's what I do. I just no longer deny that I can't do it. I no longer deny what my inner heart wants, what that inner child wants. And I no longer deny that it's out of my reach, because it's always within my reach. So I want you guys to spend some time this week. I want you to nurture yourself. I want you to stop denying yourself. I want you to listen to that inner wisdom that you get. If that inner wisdom says, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to, start my own business and selling hot dogs, and by God, find a way to do it. If that inner wisdom says, you know what, I'm not supposed to be doing this job, it doesn't make me happy, then find the job that does make you happy. You're supposed to learn how to dance, take a class. Whatever it is, guys, whatever it is that is inside of you that you are no longer supposed to deny, stop denying you and show up, because you are amazing. You are fantastic, and you got this. So look in here, guys. Take the time to look in here. Take the time to get to know you. Take the time to love you. Okay? So with that being said, we're going to close the book on Neil until the next show. And I'm going to give a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I am going to, what am I going to do? I am going to, I'm going to do the weekly reading. How's that sound? I had to stop and think because I am changing the show all over the place. I needed to go, what am I doing this week? So we are going to, I'm trying to find a commercial too, and I'm having a hard time with this. Um, but we are going to go to a station break if I ever find where these commercials are at because I don't see them anywhere. And there they are. Anyway, so when I get back, we're going to do the 5 card stud for the week. Okay, guys?
Heard a girl scream down here.
Are you kidding me right now?
I'm listening.
Doing very well. Thank you so much.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is DeEtte here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB.com. And I've just been talking about not denying yourself, guys. Looking within, seeing who you are and being the best version of you. Being the best. And stop denying that best version. That's a big thing. So that being said, we are going to do a 5 card stud. Now remember, this is for your week. And yes, even though I'm doing this early, I still have the intention for, to ask the cards what you need for the week that I'm gone and the week that this is playing. And that's what I'm looking at this week, guys. So we are asking these cards. I am bringing in the Queen of the Moon Oracle deck. There you go, Queen of the Moon Oracle deck. That's what we're using today. And then a little bit, we're going to bring in Ashley. I cannot wait. So, guys, you can bring in, you can ask for 1 card. You can ask for 2 cards, all the cards, whatever you want. This is what you need to work on for the week. And that's basically it, okay? So I'm gonna go over each individual card. And then once we do that, for those that did pick all 5 cards, I'm gonna just talk about them as one whole weekly reading. So card number 1 is beauty, beauty. Oh, no way. Why would we think this would be the first card? But beauty, I do want to tell you, this card is amazing because when you're looking at this, we always want to look at the facial, don't we? We really want to look at the facial, but I'll tell you what, this is about going in, guys. This is about going into the depths of you, seeing you, going in and going, wow, I'm a rock star. Wow, this is my truth. Oh my gosh, this is what I am. If you pick this card, number 1, it's time for you to make a list of all you are, all that is amazing about you. And start believing in that, okay? Because if you pick card number 1, you need to start working on that, okay? Stop telling yourself you look big in those pants and tell you, I got a butt that rocks instead, okay? Card number 2 is the masculine, the masculine. We haven't pulled this card before, have we? Now, the masculine card for myself is looking in and starting to see the strengths of yourself, okay? Starting to see the strengths of you. Not everybody does that, do we? A lot of times we look at our weaknesses, we look at that more feminine side, that softer side. This is time for you to start looking at the masculine side, those strong characteristics, those strong strengths. Start looking at those things that you are more than capable of doing. And that's really what it is about. Because as you're seeing this gentleman's got 2 staffs, but look at what he's creating above his head. Okay. Now, this doesn't take strength of physical. This takes strength of power. This takes mind over matter. Okay. So start looking at those masculine tendencies, that masculine part of you, because remember, we're all a yin yang, and it's time to start working with that also. Card number 3 is surrender. Oh, the dreaded surrender. I know. Surrendering sucks, doesn't it? I know this is something I struggle with even to today. Surrendering. This is saying that there is something bigger than me. Having belief, having faith, okay? That's what this card's about. So if you pick card number 3, it is time to give up. It is time to say, I give, I give. I'll do it your way. Allow it to free from your hands. Allow the greater good to show up. Card number 4 is attraction. Card number 4 is attraction. And if you pick card number 4, you are looking for things to come to you. What are you attracting in? What have you asked for to come to you? Now, I'm hoping you've been positive in this, because what you think of, you attract to you. And that also means negative stuff, guys. So you need to look at this and say, what am I bringing to myself? You need to start being aware of your thoughts, aware of your wants. If you want positive in your life and you've picked number 4, it is time to start thinking of positivity. Even if you're thinking that dumb blankety blank 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 in their car, wow, what have you just brought to yourself? Because you're attracting what you're thinking, guys, and attracting more of it. So think about your thoughts. Think about what you want your life, because card number 4 is bringing that stuff in. Okay, now let's go to the 5th card. It's the action card. Woo! Y'all dizzy now? It's the action card. It is time to make this stuff happen. And that's what action card's about. It is about making life happen, making those thoughts happen. When stuff comes in your brain, going, God, I got this, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to take all those steps to make my life rock. And that's what this card's about. So card number 1 is the beauty card. Card number 2 is the masculine. Card number 3 is surrender. Card number 4 is the attraction card. And card number 5 is action. Now, I will tell you what, when I look at all 5 of these cards, I'm telling you what, if you picked all 5 of these cards, you are on a journey to beat all journeys. And that's what I can tell you. And what I mean by that is, this is a week that as soon as you start going in here and you start to find your truth, it is going to start catapulting you. You are just going to just flip flop and go, oh my gosh, what is going on with life, right? Because it is just going to keep flowing, because you are going to start having this belief. You're going to have this strength within yourself, and you're going to go, I got this. But at the same time, knowing that you have to get out of your own way, because that's about how this works. And that's where that surrender comes into the 5 card stud here, is you have to get out of your own way. Because I'm telling you, as you're putting this plan into place, and as you're thinking about this, and as you're making it all work, you're going to start bringing those pieces of the puzzle to you. You're going to start bringing this to you, and this, and this. And trust me, when I say this is your week for action, if this all flows through, this is a week that all this stuff is going to start happening. And you're going to be going, when the hell did this all happen? Like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So this is your week, guys. This is a week that's can really possibly change your life. I'm not kidding by this. If you follow all 5 of these cards, it's exactly what's going to happen, because the momentum is going to start. It's going to happen for you. Okay. Now let's bring in the Beyond Lumera cards, because I like the wordiness of these. We all know it. You know what? I love them, because these cards just kind of bring it all together, tie it all in. Whether you picked 1 card, 3 cards, or all 5 cards, this really ties it all together. Okay? This really just ties it all together. Okay. Ooh, this is different. I think we brought this one before. It says Mount Shasta. Where, my eyes just went cross-eyed. I don't know. I'm getting old. My eyes are getting old. It says, where Lemuria would be destroyed, its people traveled to other parts of the globe. Mount Shasta was one place they journeyed. There are tales of unusual phenomenon in multidimensional beings living inside the mountain. This card is about origins, and the image is a seed crystal this deck is based around. Honor and look more deeply into your ancestry, both your bloodline and your etheric lineage. Do you have an affinity with any star beings? Connecting with them might allow you greater insight into your traits, your strengths, and your challenges. The sacred places you feel attracted to may have an intuitive message for you. And I'll tell you what, guys, this card brings it all together. And I know it sounds a little different or a little far-fetched for some people that may not believe in star seeds or multidimensionals and all that, but it is talking about really going into those depths, guys. And that's what this card's about, is going into those depths, seeing where you came from, seeing where maybe the family came from, seeing, that deeper part of you, and then bringing that into your journey. And that's really how that card kind of comes into play with everything. Well, okay, everybody. We got the 5 cards started out of the way. And with that, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when I get back, I'm going to bring in our guests this week. So just give me a moment here. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is DeEtte here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB.com. Now remember, guys, this is, again, a recorded show. I know we normally do live, but I didn't want to leave you hanging on the week that I'm gone. So please still leave your comments. Still, please leave your questions. And I can either come back and answer them later, or you know what? I know Ashley will look at those comments also, and we'll answer those questions at a later date for you. So make sure you keep writing those in. So, as I said before at the beginning of the show, Ashley Moreno is my guest today. Now, Ashley is the founder of Haunted Travels Paranormal and host of Realm of Darkness podcast on WLTK-DB. And she is also in a brand new Paraflix show called Beyond the Dimensions with Mike Hatchard and Melanie. I can't think of, oh my God, I suck with names. And I'm just going to let Ashley let you know. So let's bring in Ashley. Hi,
Hello.
Ashley. And Melody's name just went.
Oh, Melody Knapp.
My brain just went, and it was gone.
I know yesterday I was trying to talk to her and I kept calling her Melanie and I'm like, what is wrong with me?
I know I do that all the time because I met her when it was Melody and Megan, and I
Yes.
would flip-flop the two of them all the time, and I
Yes.
finally got them straight, and now I want to call her something else by her last name, and it's not, because she's earned that title and that name. So welcome in. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. I love it. So I know you do paranormal and it's all that wonderful stuff, but I also know this started somewhere in your life.
Yes.
Can we go back to the beginning and kind of go, oh my gosh, how did this paranormal journey start for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really, really little. I had lost someone extremely close to me and very important to me when I was about 7 years old. And when I lost them, I was so young, I didn't really know what death was or kind of what it entailed. And it was about a day or two after they had passed away that I physically saw them. And they had come to me and they were like, look, it's going to be okay. Everyone's going to be okay. This is just how life is. And at first I was kind of like, am I dreaming? Like, is this, a weird way that my brain is just coping with things? But it all started there. And after seeing them, I got really interested in the paranormal. I started wanting to know more about death and kind of what that entailed. And then I found myself just getting more and more involved and digging into it. And then of course, ghost hunters came up and then ghost adventures and all of that. And that's when I was like, oh, there's other people like me interested in all of it.
I just love that. And I think that is so cool because when you're talking about seeing somebody, that happened with my grandfather when I was when I was like 19 years old. And I didn't want to go to the paranormal. I wanted to go talk to dead people.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I was never a person that wanted to do paranormal. I will tell you, I was the person that I talk to dead people. Dead people don't say boo. I don't want to go where they say
Yeah.
boo. You know what I mean? That
Yes.
was a whole nother gamut, you know? And I just look at y'all and go, oh my gosh, I'm so fascinated. And now I've kind of walked into that world myself. So to me, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is, and I what I've noticed is that people in the field have all gone through some type of loss, trauma, some type of traumatic experience, and I think it's like a justification for us that there's something else out there. You know, it seems like we've all lost somebody, and it's like it's a weird way I think of like therapy and coping for all of us.
I can see where that would come. I really could see where that come, you know? Especially when you get all the machines and they're giving you proof of things.
Yes.
You know? I mean, to me, that's insane. When the ghost box starts talking, I'm like, whoa, you know, I mean, I'm blown away by it every time, you know?
Yeah.
So how did you get, I mean, how did you end up like doing investigations? I know it all came by TV and whatnot, but really, how did you go, okay, this is what I'm gonna do? Can you hear me? Oh,
Well, it was actually really funny. So when I think I was like, oh gosh, maybe 16. Oh,
okay.
yep. I think I was probably like 16, and I saw that Ghost Adventures had like an academy that you could sign up for. And I actually signed up for it and ended up getting a response that, no, you're too young. We can't, you know, you got to be 18. So I just kept watching shows, and eventually Mike Hatcher actually worked with my dad. And my dad's like, look, my daughter's really interested in this. She loves it. You know, she's had a couple experiences herself. And Mike reached out to me and was like, hey, let's get a team together. Let's see what we can do with this. And we started investigating and started traveling, and then ended up on Paraflix, and it's kind of just taken off from there.
I love that because that was me another question. How did you end up with Mike? You know what I mean? He's a great
Yeah.
guy. I love the hell out of Mike, but I'm like, how did you end up together? You know, as a pair investigating, you know? So because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
he worked with my dad.
okay.
Yeah.
You know? So what are some
Yeah.
I know our internets aren't linking all together perfectly, and that's okay. We'll muddle through it. You know what I mean? But so what are some of these investigations that you have gone on? I mean, that are really kind of because I know you know, everybody thinks there's going to be a demon or a big scary monster or something like that. And we all know that really you guys, I shouldn't say you guys, but everybody's always kind of not even looking for that anymore because people are like, that's just not reality. And not to say that's not there because there's a lot of demonologists,
Mhm.
but that can tell you different. But you know, what are some of these investigations that really kind of keep you going? Because sometimes I know you walk in and there might not be anything.
Yeah, there have been a few where we've kind of just sat there in the dark for hours, and nothing happened, and the location was supposedly, you know, this extremely haunted location, and we got nothing. Um, but you know, there's a couple locations that I will always go back to. It doesn't matter how many times I've been there. Hinsdale is one of them. Ohio State Reformatory is one of my favorites. And actually, the very first place I ever was physically touched, I was scratched all the way down my back. And it's one of the Beyond the Dimensions episodes. And you hear me go, I gotta find Mike. And like, I was so excited, which is probably not a normal reaction. Um, but just hearing like I'm a big history buff, so also hearing kind of the stories of the people that were involved there, the you know, the history of the location, the land, things like that kind of keep me going back.
Yeah.
And I just went to this place called Bill Manor in Fremont, Ohio, and I have to say that that is probably the most innocent but most active location I think I've ever been to.
Oh, well, I seen the pictures of some of that. Because I think Mike
Yeah.
Ricksetter posted them, and I was like all over those pictures. So I don't know if you were there when Mike was there. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I was gonna say, so jealous.
No, not when Mike was there, no.
Oh,
No, I
not when
went
Mike
with
was.
a big group of girls.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, he just posted pictures too this week, so I don't know when he was there then. But the site looks amazing. It looks just. I loved it. You know. So can you talk about
Yeah,
some of the
yeah,
things
it's
that
this Yeah, so it's this big, beautiful house. It's kind of like a mansion. It's in Fremont, Ohio, and it's right across the street from Rutherford B. Hayes Mansion and Museum. So if you're there, you can actually kind of check out two different locations. But while we were at Bill Manor, we had set up all of our equipment, sent out, the little cat balls and things like that, and went outside to kind of decompress before we were ready to do the investigation. And watching back the footage, we had a cat ball that in the first 5 minutes, it went off 7 times and we weren't even in the house. And we didn't know that until we were watching the footage, but we had footsteps, we had thumps and knocks, and there's a second floor, kind of like a little bit of a landing. And we had music boxes and flashlights set out and tripwires. It was setting all of it off. I
Wow.
mean, but it was on command. We would say, okay, if you want to say yes, make the music box go twice. And it would go doot doot with like the light. And
Right.
we'd say, okay, turn on the flashlight on the right. And that one would turn on. We're like, okay, turn that off and turn the one on the left. And that one would turn on. And I mean, it was just the amount of equipment that went off. I mean, the motion sensors were going off. And at one point, we had our camera facing the security camera in the kitchen with where you could see a lot of the house. And we were catching shadow figures in doorways. And we're all looking at each other trying to account for everybody. And it's just, I mean, it was like there was, I would say we didn't go 5 minutes without something happening with us in or out of the room. It didn't care where we were.
That is incredible. I mean, that is incredible. I mean, that's something every paranormal investigator, I think, dies for. Like, oh my gosh, I want that. You
Yes.
know? That
And
would
it
be
was.
incredible.
Like, I've never had it on command like that. I mean, we even to the point was like, okay, if this is true, make the music box go solid for 5 seconds. And we're like, one Mississippi, two, and it went. And as soon as we hit 5, it was shut off. We were mind blown. It was incredible.
Oh my gosh, I mean, that sounds just like a place you wanna go to.
Yes.
So I wanna talk about Hinsdale too, because I've yet to be to Hinsdale. I've been invited. Dan himself says he wants to know what I think of it. I mean, I love the heck out of Dan, so I need to get there, but tell me about Hinsdale.
Oh gosh, Hinsdale is a force of its own. I like to say that it messes with you, mentally, emotionally, physically. It kind of it gets a read of who you are, and it just screws with you. Honestly, every single time I've gone, it's been a different experience, and it's been terrifying. Where I said I was never going back, but then it's also been pleasant, where I'm like, oh, I could bring my kid here. And I think just depending on the group of people you're with, it really reads kind of the energy and feeds off of it. And, one of the most terrifying things I had happen was actually with Mike Hatcher and Jason Baker. We
Okay.
were there and Mike was scrying into a mirror and he saw horns growing out of his head, and we're filming it. And as he's explaining to us what's going on, maybe it's me and music boxes. This music box starts going off and Mike's face changes and his eye shape changes. And we were just like, this is not good. And we ended up having to pull him out from doing the scrying. But then, I've had dreams about the location. I've had nightmares about the location. Me and another friend had seen the same exact entity at 2 different times at 2 different places. And she painted it and I just kind of told her about it. I mean, it really has a mind of its own, truly.
That's crazy, because I've heard people fall in love with Hinsdale. And I
Mhm.
think that's the attraction because you hear about all these amazing places, these, you know, asylums and, reformatories and prisons, and you hear about them all. But everybody loves Hinsdale. No matter hands down, everybody gives the same look that you give. It's like this love affair with
It
this
is.
building.
Yes, it's almost like an abusive relationship, I say, because the very first time I ever went, I got in the car and I looked at Mike and I said, I will never step foot on this property again, ever. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm texting everyone like, I can't stop thinking about it. I have to get back there. And it's like it calls to you. It kind of just like it wins you over. I don't know how, but it does.
Maybe I don't want to go to Hinsdale. It's only like a 9-hour drive, but I already drive to New York just to go, just because I feel like going. I can just see me every weekend driving back. camping on the land going, I'm here.
You do. You do, and it's like, it terrifies you, but as soon as you're gone, you're like, "Oh, I can't wait to get back there."
Yeah,
I mean, it's just crazy.
I love that. I love that. Now you guys have brought back together Beyond Dimensions.
Mm.
I love that. How does that feel to be able to bring back something that was there and
Yeah,
possibly felt like it was lost, and here you're coming back with you're coming
yeah.
back with new people.
Yes, it's very exciting. I'm sure a lot of people know, when Mike and I first had the team, there was just creative differences. We're like siblings. Everybody fights and argues and things, and we took some time apart, worked on ourselves, worked on our own projects,
Mhm,
and ended up finding our way like back to each other and started talking. And we're like, we didn't fulfill what we wanted to with this team. Let's give it another go. And that's why we're calling it the resurrection, because it's kind of, we both have grown so much. We've met new people, and our abilities and our experience have grown.
mhm,
And I Mike and I joke about it now, but we're like, that happened for a reason.
mhm.
We don't think that we would be able to make it what we wanted it to be back then. So
Right.
the reason we had to kind of grow on our own before coming back together, and then adding Melody into the mix. She's absolutely incredible and very talented.
I love Melody. I have since the first moment.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's no secret. I girl crush Melody because she's amazing. She
Right.
really is.
She is, and she has the purest soul, and I mean, she is one of my favorite people in the field. And then we also have Robin Ramsey, who is gonna be handling all of our camera and equipment and things like that. So having those 2 powerhouses join us,
Yeah.
I just keep saying it's gonna be epic.
It really is, and Mike has already spilled the beans on one of because Mike, as you know, him and
Mhm.
I have a show, and he spilled the beans where you guys are going on your first tour, just so you
Did
know.
he?
He did, and I cannot
Okay.
wait. It's Broadhead Manor, I already know.
Yes.
In
It
my
is.
backyard, I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I think Mike will be the only one that might have. I think he's been there before, but none of us have, so it'll be really
Oh,
interesting.
Mike hasn't been there either. He was
No.
supposed to come up for Spirits in the Spring, but some things happened, and he wasn't able to make it, so no. It'll be
Oh,
his first time in too, and I cannot wait to hear about it because I'm in love with the building. I've been there, a few times. The owner of it's like a dear friend of mine. He's my husband, I'm his wife, you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
awesome. He's a great guy, and you're gonna enjoy it. I mean,
Oh, I
because
can't wait.
talk about a building that's got some dimensions.
Well,
I
see, and that's the fun thing is half of us are going in knowing about the building and the history, and half of us are not.
yeah.
And we're gonna try to bring those 2 aspects together and kinda see what the people who know can kind of confirm what the rest of us that don't know, like, trying to see what we can pick up on. So it's gonna be really interesting. I'm excited.
It really is because I just had Nick, Simons on
Mhm.
this past Monday, and he's been there, but he hasn't actually investigated it, and Bill
Oh,
even admitted to, like, I shouldn't say admitted to it. He brought out they just found new areas of the building they didn't know about before.
like
So
hidden rooms?
well, it's a whole hidden area, which is so strange because the time that I was there, the first time I investigated, I looked at Bill and I said, "There's something here. There's a floor here. There's something here that is seen but not seen." And we at first thought it was, and we just kind of set it off as because the janitor was telling me about the building. Well, the dead janitor. And I have to clarify that.
You have to clarify when
The dead guy was telling me about it, and, because first he was telling me about a 4th floor, and everybody was going, "There's no 4th floor," and I'm like, "The janitor swears it's a 4th floor." Sure enough, Bill's like, "There's a 4th floor," and he shows it to me, and, then while we're up there looking, up above from the 3rd floor, I looked at him and he said, "They're telling me also there's, like, where the gym is, there's something hidden, there's a hidden floor, there's someplace hidden." He's like, "Well, there was a the gym floor now was the original gym floor. There was a gym floor on top of that." So we just kind of assumed that was what they were telling me. But Bill just found this last weekend a whole hidden area that's in the gym area. And I'm like, that's what they had to been talking about. But we
Yeah.
just didn't know about it yet.
Oh my
So
gosh.
when you go, there's going to be so much more that people don't even realize are there.
Oh, see, and I think that's incredible. And when things like that are uncovered, I feel like it kind of spikes the energy
Ah,
and the spirits kind of get going. So I'm excited.
yeah, I'll let you know, get your singing voice on because the kids at that building love to be sing too.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Oh my,
If Bill starts singing them through the ghost box and he quits and starts to walk away, you'll hear him go, "One more song." And he
oh.
comes back and he sings to him again. So the kids that are there love it.
Well,
Oh,
and I have a REM pod that is a carousel that kind of winds up and plays music as it's a REM pod. Oh, I can't wait. I bet they will love that.
you're gonna love it. Bring it all because the kids are gonna love that. The kids just flourish on that. The building floor. You know, see, there's some heavy things there too. You know,
Yeah.
some heavy energies like every building, but it's one you're gonna have a blast with.
Oh, I
And
can't
I'm not
wait.
gonna say I won't sneak over and give everybody hugs and say hi because
You
it's
should.
a half an hour away from me, so I will probably show up and go, "Do I get a hug?"
Oh my gosh, you should because I know like me, Melody, and I mean even Robin, I mean we'd all love to like meet you.
Yeah, yeah. Mike hasn't met yet either, so
Really? Not in
everything
person?
is, like, right here. Yeah, everything's,
That's
like,
true.
always here, and you're like, "Oh my god," and you thank God for Zoom and StreamYard and technology, but I have yet to physically meet people. I met Melody, though. That lady
Oh,
I've
see,
met.
I don't know if we can if we can hold a candle to her, so you might be disappointed.
No.
She's an incredible human being.
She really is, and all that she does, which I think is I personally, I think it's amazing, you know? So I also wanna talk about, what getting back off that because 'cause I'm gonna go right back to Broadhead Manor because I can't never talk enough about it. But how does this paranormal world affect your real world? Or
Oh,
is there no difference?
it's I think it affects it in a little bit of a different way than most people. Like when I come home, I just decompress. I leave it all at the door. So like I don't have anything weird happening in my house. I have haunted objects, but nothing has ever happened. So they're pretty mellow. They kind of just stay to themselves. Um, but the way I treat people, I think is a little bit different. And I should say the living,
Yeah,
because everybody, like you said earlier, everybody wants to assume that things are evil, demonic, and all of that. And I preach it all the time that, if you have these great people in life, you also have these like a-holes in life
mhm,
and that transitions over into death. So when I'm talking to somebody, I notice myself trying to read kind of what type of person they are, what kind of energy they have going on. And then walking away, I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna be one of those people that like throws things.
I love it. I'm glad you're able to do that, but I think you need to learn how to duck.
I know, yeah. Well, that's why I'm like, you're not really a nice person in life. You're gonna be one of those people that they're
Right.
gonna think's demonic for sure.
I love that, and I love how you're saying that because so often because, I can never preach it enough that I do remote viewing for the Warren Legacy Foundation, and I do it for Joe, one of the CEO of it, and I have yet to find demonic. I have
Yeah.
yet to find have I found an entity or 2? Yes, but not demonic. It's usually just a really jerk, pissed off
Mhm.
person that's been pissed off for 200 years, and they really are holding a grudge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think too. Because I guess my philosophy on it is if they were really demonic or really a demon, they have better things to do than to hang out in abandoned buildings
Yeah,
and just wait for people to walk there. I feel like they have a lot more that they could be doing than just
well,
hanging out waiting for somebody.
maybe they're watching Ghost Adventures and saying, "Somebody has to walk in here. Somebody is getting we're gonna get them, and we're not gonna take the rap for this because"
I would love to know what the spirits actually think when he's doing those things. They're probably like, "Come on."
or is he finding the real thing? Who knows,
That many times.
Yeah, because you said you were scratched,
That's true.
and that's some people will look at that and go, "Oh my god, was that demonic? Was that blah" what was that?
Yeah.
Were you able to find out what scratched you or who scratched you?
I did, and I will say that it was kind of my fault. So I was at Ohio State Reformatory, and they had told me that there was, this inmate who his name was Mr. Salt, and he did not like women, and he was in the room that I think they call it the toilet room now.
Okay.
And they said that when he was alive, he would take, like, Epsom salt, and he would put it in people's food and poison and kill them. So that's how he got his name, Mr. Salt. And everyone's like, "Oh, he hates women. If you go in there, you're gonna get sick. You're gonna this. You're gonna that." So of course I'm like, "Well, I'm the only girl on the team. I have to go." So I go in and I am just talking to him, just normal, and I'm like, "Hey, Mr. Salt, I heard you don't really like females. I hope you're okay with me being in here. Would you mind just saying hi?" And audibly with our ears, we heard hi. real loud, and we caught it on the recorder as well. So
Wow.
I played it back. I got really excited. And then I was like, see, Mr. Salt, you're not as much of a dick as everyone says you are. And instantly I felt my back burning. And I was like, ooh, he probably didn't like being called that for one. And then one of the people I was with pulled, now it was February.
Right.
So I had on a tank top, a t-shirt, a hoodie, an Eskimo jacket, and gloves. So
Mhm.
there's no way that I could have done it myself. And when she pulled all my layers up, there was a scratch from like where your bra hits all the way down my back.
Oh,
And it was forming as she was kind of looking at it. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you got scratched. And my first thing is like, I have to go find Mike and Jason. I'm so excited. And everyone thought I was crazy for it. But I'm like, again, it's another form of evidence. You know, I wasn't scared. I didn't feel threatened. It was just another form of like, something is here. And I just wanted to run and tell them because I was so excited about it.
I love that, you know what I mean? Because so many people be like, "Oh my God, I gotta get out of here. I gotta run," you know?
Yeah.
But it's really fear that takes over that makes you run.
Yes.
And if you don't have the fear, I mean, you need a healthy fear, obviously, but if you don't have the fear, really, what is there left?
Right. And I try to think of it too as, you know, we can't hear them, see them, and they're trying so hard that they might not mean to come across as malicious and angry, or, you know, they might not mean to make something fall, but they're just trying to work all their energy up and make something happen, and it comes out like that. And since we don't understand it, people instantly are like, oh, it's negative. Oh, it threw something across the room. And it's like, no, they just tried really, really hard and they're doing what we asked them to do.
I like that way of looking at it, you know what I mean? I like that is such more of a positive way of looking at this versus the negative that I think I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like sometimes the negative or the negative show of it is what more people get attracted to.
Yeah.
And when they show up and the negative really isn't there, you know, what do you have other than a really good history and somebody
Yeah.
there that's able to back the history?
Yeah, exactly. And I try to think too, even if I do come across something more angry or negative, and people are asking, I'm like, look, if there were 200 people in a week coming into your house saying, what's your name? Make a noise, you would get irritated too. And at some point you're gonna be like, leave me alone, get out, go away. And those are a lot of the EVPs we catch. And it's, you know, we don't know how many people have been in and out before us, and they could be,
Mhm.
we're impeding in their space, and we have to remember that.
Yeah. You know, and I can't agree with you more on that because I went to over to Edinburgh Manor over in Iowa.
Mhm.
And I am in love with that place. And I went in with myself, my daughter, who's budding, you know, abilities. She could take them or leave them really. Um, and, and a group of paranormal investigators. We went in, you know, to this place that, you know, it's very notary. It's the, its legend speaks for itself. And we walked in and here I am. I'm like, I don't want to know anything about the building. I don't, and it's active. I mean, there are dead people all over this building and they're talking just tons of information. They're using the pendulums, they're using dowsing rods, they're using the tools of a medium. And they're talking to me, and this is awesome. But the minute somebody would turn on equipment, they go busted and they'd shut down and they were gone. And I'm like, where'd all the dead people go? And
Yeah.
it was like 3 rooms down. Finally, they went, we need a break.
Oh,
And I was like, whoa, that is huge to say, we just want a break. So we just went, no, I mean, even the investigators were like, will you talk through the medium? Will you use their tools? And they were agreeing to that, you know? So literally they talked through me, they talked through my daughter, they talked through another medium we had with us. They used the dowsing rods, they used everything that wasn't electronic, nothing that was going to make them do song and dance with, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And, you know, even there, they have like a board where you can change like the words on it, the
Mhm.
lettering. And somebody said, do you want to come play with us? And, you know, one of the investigators, you know, put that on the board and we, you know, forgot about, didn't tell anybody about it. You know, we went through the whole building, had a great time. And before we left, she looked over and we heard this, oh my God. And we're like, what? And they're like, we did this. I'm like, okay. And right below the ball was a ball. And it was
Oh,
like,
goosebumps.
yeah, well, I mean, like, oh my gosh, you know, the building just wanted a break. The people wanted a break. That
Yes.
was it. And they were like, "We'll talk, but
Yeah.
yeah."
I mean,
And
they're doing it for hours too, just like we are. And some of the investigators are like, "Oh, I need coffee. I need this." I'm like, "Well, they don't get that. So as we're taking breaks, they probably need them too."
yeah, so it was really cool to be able to watch that, a fan that was barely plugged in, like, and
Mhm.
wasn't running, all of a sudden still wasn't plugged in, was running. You know what I mean? The footstep, they still gave us everything.
Yeah.
They just didn't
See,
do it through electronics because electronics were a little bit more for them than they wanted to do.
well, and I think we forget too, a lot of these locations we go to are from, 1800s, early 1900s. So these poor people don't know what these electronics are. And we come in and we're like, "Oh, make the K2 light up, make the obelisk go off." And they're probably like, "What?" Like,
Yeah,
I mean, some of them don't even know what a cell phone is. And it's
yeah.
so I agree with you. I think some of the locations it's easier just going in and using the simple things, even like a cat ball that tends to be a big hit because it lights up. But trying to explain the equipment to them sometimes I think makes it more of them like shutting down and kind of just staying away. They don't know what it is.
I love that because one of my favorite things to walk in is using, like, little Matchbox cards
Yes.
and playing with them. That's
Yes.
You know what I mean? Let's play, either they write, use them, or you put your hand on it and they'll move your hand with it, and it's amazing.
Yes.
Just the simple tools.
Yeah, dowsing rods are my favorite thing. People think I'm crazy, but I'm like, that is my favorite thing because I know it sounds crazy, but when I'm using them, I feel like I can tell the shift in energy. So I can tell when it's one person and then, oh, it's a new person, and oh, it's different when it's a child. And it's like you can almost feel the current or the energy change in the dowsing rods. And people are like, "No, you can't." I'm like, I swear, maybe I'm nuts, but I swear I can.
Trust me, I know you can because I know when I use them, I can feel it, and it's not using the spidey senses, it's just here, so I believe you 110%. I like the hugs they give you with the rods.
Yes.
And they hug you, and you're like, "I'm being
Yes, when they
hugged."
go on both sides.
Yeah, they just wrap you, and you're like,
Yes.
"I'm being hugged." And people are looking at you like you're crazy. It's to me, it's so exciting. To me, it's mind-blowing.
It is.
It is. So have you done residential also, or is it more of the commercial?
I have done one residential
Okay.
before. It's difficult for me because I feel like there's so many different aspects to it versus going into like a commercial building,
Yeah.
just because you have to check, you have to ask the hard questions that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Is there mental illness? Is there addiction? Is there something else that could be playing into it? Did you do something you shouldn't have done? Are you playing with Ouija boards that you don't know how to handle? And going into these residentials, asking those questions so you know what you're walking into, if anything, sometimes people aren't comfortable with that. And I don't like to make people uncomfortable. So I'm like, I have to ask some questions. I'm really sorry if I offend you.
No, it's very true because people don't realize you can have somebody that's got a lot of empathic abilities, and
Mhm.
they don't know they have it, and they're
Yes.
essentially having meltdowns.
Yes.
And paranormal, the world is just blown up around them, but they're really the one causing it, and they don't
Yes.
even know.
Yes, and people with abilities, they're like lighthouses. So, somebody with an ability like that, they're gonna like, "This always happens to me. I don't know what's wrong with me." And I'm like, it's because you're just a bright light that they're attracted to.
Yeah. I'm just getting all caught up my throat because, like, yeah, it's true. It's
It
so true. It's amazing. It's amazing how that happens. And people just, they don't understand that.
yeah.
So I want to also bring up one of the things I never really get to talk to paranormal. I never get to the point of asking this question, but you had already kind of bridged it. And it's, that historian, it's that story. Have you found a place that you've been able to walk into and kind of like help the people that are there?
Oh
And
my gosh.
because I always see that, what, like you have a very angry spirit.
Mhm.
And sometimes they get more angry because we've made up a story, by playing post office
Mhm.
year after year after year. And now the story is so far from what the truth is.
So there is a location, and I don't know how true I guess this is, but I will tell you my experience. It's a very popular location. Again, another one of my favorites. And while I was there, or I should say, before I got there, I had woken up in the middle of the night and there was a Native American woman standing next to my bed. And I could just hear chanting, and she was kind of doing one of these with a feather and smoke. And I thought I was sleeping, and I like kind of looked over at my husband, and I sat up and I looked at her, and I'm like, okay, wake up. And I never woke up, but she kind of slowly disappeared. And when I had told the owner what had happened, he told me that there was a Native American medicine woman that was burned on that land.
Oh,
And when I ended up getting there, it was a scary location. And a lot of people kept talking about an elemental. And when I left, I'll just say it was Hinsdale. When I left, I said I was never going back. And I had a dream of this. And with you being so gifted, maybe you can decipher it for me. It was this kind of medium to smaller, very lanky, black entity.
okay.
It kind of like Gollum, but very black and very, very black eyes and just little horns.
Okay.
And I kept getting the feeling of like an elemental, because I'm like,
Right.
I've never met one, I've never seen one, and that's the only thing I can think of.
Right.
And for 2 or 3 weeks, I would have this dream of him, and I called him a him, and it would just be me staring at him and him staring at me. And I'd be like, look, I did not go there to hurt you. I did not go there to disrespect you or your land or anything. And as these dreams went on, the very last one, his eyes went from black to this beautiful ocean crystal blue.
Right.
And I've never dreamt of him again. And
Yeah.
in that moment, I was like, can we befriend, like, if elementals are real, can we befriend them? Can once we show them that we're just there to learn and appreciate and honor what they've been through, can we earn their trust? Can we, gain their friendship? And since that happened, I've never been scared to return to Hinsdale. There's scary moments, but I'm not scared to go.
Right.
And, saying it out loud, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds nuts. But I don't know how to explain it. I don't know.
No, and what people don't realize is fairies don't come with little wings always.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
People want to
look at the sun behind me now that I'm talking about it.
Oh, it's huge. I love it. I love it. It really just push it right up the face. But people don't realize that elementals, I'm not going to go to the gnomes and all that, because I keep getting fairy in my head. More of a house nymph or a land nymph. You know what I mean? But more of an earthbound fairy than the fly type fairy. Because everybody wants to go to Tinkerbell.
Yes.
They really do. But people don't realize that fairies are really kind of like the angels of the earth, so that they will resemble a lot of times of the earth. So you'll see the horns, you'll see branches coming out of them, you see all these things, and they don't necessarily look like what you're imagining them to look like. And a lot of times they're very angry because we're really not taking care of what they're trying to take care of.
Yeah.
Because if you think of a fairy as an earth angel, and they're taking care of the land, they're taking care of animals, they're taking care of streams. They're working really overtime.
Yeah.
Because we're screwing this up.
Yes.
So they are coming through, they're coming through angry, and they will do tricks on you. They will do it, and they will appear different than what they are because of the fact that they are upset.
Yeah. What is going on with this?
I'm sorry.
I don't know. It was like
we're working on the truth with all that light.
That never happens.
I think that we're working on the truth. The fairies are like,
they're like, preach.
Well, it helps. I'm also a fairyologist of Doreen Virtue before she quit the job. Gives you any. I'm very much elemental. I mean, that was my world before demons and demon dogs and whatever you want to call the paranormal. I was very much airy fairy, but and people don't realize that though. So I honestly believe you really got into the elemental world. It's there trying to protect. It's there, and especially if you have Native American going on there right off the bat, because Native American do believe, and they work a lot together. So I would say that it's still there trying to protect.
Well, and that's what I kind of wondered, if it was a different form of that medicine woman that was burned. Because, I believe that when a traumatic event takes place, it kind of imprints on the land. It leaves that energy and all of that. And I was like, is that her form to protect the land now? And she doesn't want that to happen again because, her people were slaughtered. But then, elemental, they say, oh, it's a protector of land. And I'm like, Yeah, but it was one of the coolest experiences, and like I said, that was one of the reasons I did return to Hinsdale, and I
Now I
was
want to
like,
go there. You took me
see,
from not wanting to be there to wanting
see,
to be there. And now I'm like, "What?" You're like, see, it does it to you.
it does it. I'm telling you.
Fairies. I don't want to talk to the dead people. I want to talk to the fairies now.
Yes, I want to go with you because I just want to know what they're saying. I'm going to follow you around with a notebook.
I love the fairy king. I mean, it sounds just as weird when I say I love the fairy king or the elemental kingdom, but I do
Mhm.
love it. Because it's someplace that paranormal doesn't go, you
Yes,
know? And people don't realize paranormal is really just this huge umbrella
yes,
definition for everything that's not normal. I mean, everybody
yes.
wants to put it in the ghost hunting, but really it's just, again, this huge umbrella, that people don't realize,
W-
so
Well, and elementals get such a bad name at people. Every time somebody brings up, they're like, "Oh, they're evil. They're going to kill you. They're going to this." And I'm like, "How do we know that? Did we ever capture one? Did we ever talk to one?" And I'm like, "You're just making assumptions off of Hollywood." Like,
and you really kind of hit something when you said, maybe we get trust. And it's not getting trust, it's getting back trust. Because I'm a firm believer that there was a
yes,
time that we all lived together. But humans, we like to get a little, I mean, I shouldn't say this all humans because it's not all, but we like to get arrogant. We like to think that we got the brains or the
mhm,
ability or whatever. And they're kind of going, fine, live without us then. See what happens.
yes, yeah.
You
And
know?
how better to protect than to be scary?
Yeah, be scary or
Mhm.
just be invisible, not be
That's
seen,
true.
So
Yeah.
I think, and I honestly, I do believe with the work that you do, that's bridging a gap because they are starting to see and they're going, wait a second, they can't see us. They don't know what's here. We've scared them. We've done it all. And they're coming back nice. They're coming
Yes.
back to say, hey, we believe in you, even if you're not showing us. And we'll take any proof you got.
Yeah.
Let's work together.
Exactly. And I think you just have to be, I think you're more likely to come across that stuff when you're open-minded and you don't just instantly jump to negative. They're going to hurt you. They're going to damage your life. I think you have to, and I had people like, oh, if you're dreaming of an elemental, you need to stop. And I'm like, but they haven't hurt me. They're just looking at me. Like,
I'll be like, you have to jump. Let's go back. Let's go back.
yeah, I would wake up and I'd be like,
Go.
go back to sleep, go back to sleep. I want to see where this finishes. And
I'd be like, we got to go to Hobby Lobby. We have to make some really cool costumes. We need some wings. We need some like antler horns. We need to go back and be friends.
we do, and we should just, and the land there's 10 acres. We could just frolic
There
and see
you
if they come visit us.
Let's go. Just like everybody's gonna be like in the ghost box, but they're crazy. They're crazy.
But you know what? Has somebody done it yet? Maybe
Probably
we're gonna do a new experiment that's gonna break the mold.
there you go. I could just see the look on Dad's face going,
Oh, and Mike would probably be there like, what
oh
are
yeah.
these?
Oh,
They're
Mike
frolicking with antlers.
Mike would put wings on it to it.
Probably would.
He would be like, "Where's my costume?"
He would want a tutu for
Where's
sure.
it happen?
Maybe we can make that an episode.
Oh, that would be that would be so awesome. You don't even know. I'd be like, "Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go." I inspired something. This is going to be scary. I'm gonna have to ship this one down to Mike to say we got you hooked up, Mike.
Like, we got our episode right here. Now we just need costumes.
We just need the costume.
Melody would be in. I know she would.
Oh, I know she would. She'd be like, "Let's do this."
She would.
She would. She'd be like all about it. Like, we haven't tried this yet.
Yeah. Hey, new methods work all the time.
They
You have me
do.
crying. I'm laughing so hard over here.
I'm just going, wow, wouldn't that be so cool? Because it's like we've always done the paranormal, we've always gone for the dead people. We want the demons, but who's ever looked for the fairies? Let's go for
Yeah.
the fairies.
Let's find the fairies. I like it.
Fairies. Let's find the fairies of Hinsdale.
And it would change it. People might not be so scared.
I know. And then, Dan would have to get a whole new attire going on.
Dan would look great in a tutu. I'm gonna tell him that.
That is going to be awesome. I'm so getting done with this and I'm messaging Dan like, hey, Dan, we got an idea.
He's gonna be like, oh Lord.
Well, I'm like, but we need t-shirts after
The fairy squad.
Here you go. He would laugh so hard. He would so die. So, but that's just Dan, which is pretty cool. He'd be up for it.
Oh, he would.
So, I want to talk about that little thing you posted because aren't you in like a I know you probably can't talk anything of the episode yet,
Oh, okay.
but you were there. How
Yes.
was being part of the cast of Deathwalker?
It was incredible.
Yeah,
That was the first time I ever met Nick or Tessa.
yeah,
And, I've always loved them because they're more real. They don't over dramatize things and they don't make things demonic. They really tell a story. So of
yeah.
course I went in, I'm like, be cool, be normal, kind of expected that typical like celebrity behavior.
Mhm.
Not at all. They are the most down to earth, incredible people. Nick was doing most of the filming, so he would just kind of tell us what he wanted, where to stand. We did a couple shots. He would turn the camera around, be like, "Look at this. Look how cool this is. We can kind of darken this, maybe lighten these aspects." And I mean, he was really like involving us.
Right.
And even when it wasn't my turn to film, we were at kind of a house and I was sitting in the dining room and Tessa came in and sat down and we were talking like we've known each other for years. So getting to know them on that aspect was really cool to see that they really are just nice, genuine people, which makes me love them that much more. But then also seeing the creativity of Nick and his camera crew and how they would do things and how many takes they would do it and watching their brains work. It was kind of like being in the presence of an artist because
Right.
they would be like, "Okay, let's try this shot." And they'd be like, "Okay, that was really cool. So now let's do it backwards. Let's speed it up. Let's slow it down." And just seeing how they were trying to piece it together
Right.
was so awesome. I mean, it was one of the best things I think I've ever done. I left and I was like on a high. I'm like, I loved Nick and Tessa and to find out they're great and to watch them in action, it was so cool. It was so
Well,
cool.
I'm telling someday I'm gonna meet them, someday.
Oh,
I hear so much about them because we have mutual friends, and I
yeah.
hear about how amazing they are and down to earth, but then to be on
Yeah.
one of their episodes was like, "Wow, that is so cool," and the makeup was rock star
Oh my
awesome.
gosh. The makeup artist, her name was Angela. She was fantastic. I think I was doing it for like 2.5 hours. And after filming was done, because I had a 4.5 hour drive home. And I'm like, if I get pulled over, I'm going to scare the hell out of somebody. So I'm like, I'm going to wash it all off. And at one point, I had like, it was running all over my face. And Dan was there. And I walk out and I'm like, Daniel, you did this to me. And Nick starts dying laughing. He's like, we have to take you to a bar looking like that. And I'm like, I'm not going. No. And they're like, we got to see if somebody will buy you drinks. And I'm like, nope. Mm-mm. I was
I
like,
would've gone. I'd have
I,
done it.
I
Let's
would
go.
love to go to the bar with Dan and Nick, but not looking like this.
I'm like, "Let's go." I'm
It was,
that person, though, let's have fun.
oh my gosh. I had like glue in my hair. I had fake blood in my eye. It was fun though.
It looks so much fun. That makeup, like I said, is killer, and when people get to see that episode,
Oh yeah.
I think they're gonna be blown away. I
I
really do.
I believe they said it was season 4, episode 7.
Ooh, there you
So I
go.
think it's supposed to air later this year. So I'm excited to see that.
I love that. I
I'm that
cannot
creepy
wait.
entity.
I can't wait. You guys, you gotta watch Deathwalker just to find Ashley, because 'cause I'll tell you, she's got horns. That's all I can give you, blood and horns.
Yes.
You'll know it's her.
Yes. Big horns too.
They're not little. They're like
No.
how they got them to stick to you. I'm like, "How'd they do it?" I kept looking at it like, "How'd they get
Yeah.
that?" I need this Halloween makeup. Like, this is awesome.
Well, and I don't know exactly what she used, but it was like this, like it was some type of like sticky glue,
Oh, wow.
like a latex glue or something. And then she put like fake skin over it and blood and eyeshadow. And it was just really cool. And then she kind of splattered it on my face. And when she was done, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Cool. I love that. So do you have any plans to show up for another audition for them?
I have thought about it. They do a lot of their filming during the week, so it's hard because I do work as well. And it was actually very ironic, or I shouldn't say ironic. It was kind of spontaneous for me to go last week. Dan had put a message out that they were looking for people, and if anybody wants to look on Dan's Facebook, he'll put castings out for the characters and things. And
Yeah.
all I did was like the post, and Dan kind of called me out and was like, "Hey, you want to film?" And I was like, yes, like I will be there. It's only 4.5 hours.
Right.
Like who's going to turn down, to be an extra in Deathwalker?
Right, exactly. I mean, if I was closer, I would answer any one of those calls.
Yes.
He's always asking for short redhead kid, this, that. I'm like, I don't fit any of these.
But they have a lot of need for like shadow figures and negative entities. And that's what I showed up as, was a negative entity. And I ended up with all that makeup and looking pretty cool. So it was so much fun. We filmed, gosh, I think we all got there around like 2 or 3, and we filmed till 10 o'clock at night. And it was just, everybody was just fantastic. The whole cast.
That is so awesome. What an incredible life you've had. What incredible. I mean, just to be able to look back and go, wow, I can tell this all to my kids. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and my son asks all the time when I go to leave, Mommy, are you going to a ghost house? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to a ghost house. So he's interested in it already at 6.
oh, I love that. So what age are you going to let him go with you?
Oh, probably like 18, just in case. Because there are some possible risks to it. Some of the locations we go to are not always the cleanest or the nicest. There's, safety hazards, but there's also spiritual hazards that could happen. And I think you have to have that certain level of maturity, but you also have to have respect. And I don't want him to go in as, a teenage kid and being like, oh, this isn't real. And then coming out with something that I'll call you for help.
Well, it's funny because I'm taking Broadhead Manor. We're having a fundraiser July 1st to raise the roof. And I'm bringing my granddaughter who's 6.
Are you? But see, I feel like that's a fundraiser. Like, you're not going to be.
It's all going to be good. I'm not keeping her there after dark. She's not going on any investigations or anything like that. So, and I'm just kind of putting a message out to the children before we get there. Make sure they protect her, blah, blah, blah. And I know she knows how to bubble up. She's very gifted already. So we're going as a rock star, and everybody knows she's coming. So
that's awesome. See, my son's scared of the dark, so he could never do an investigation yet.
No, she's afraid of the dark, but she's not afraid of dead people, which is really, that's how you know she's my granddaughter.
I feel like that goes hand in hand, but that's actually awesome.
Well, she'll look at me and she goes, do you remember great-great-grandma? I do, but you don't. Oh, she'll tell me all about her great-great-grandma and all these details that nobody knows. I'm like, well, there you go. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Already at 6.
At 6 years old.
Oh my God. Imagine when she's older, she's going to be out of this world.
She's going to be mind-blowing. It's going to be scary because we already had to, she told us, she came home from school one day and she goes, Daddy, ghosts aren't real. And he goes, don't tell your Nani that. And she goes, why? He goes, what do you think Nani does for a living? She talks to ghosts. That's what Nani does. She went back to school. She goes, ghosts are too real.
I love that support already.
Lots of support. You know what I mean? So it's pretty amazing with that, Yeah. So with that being said, though, I know you're like, he's interested at 18. Will you really encourage him? Like, hey, let's.
I would. I think I say 18, but I'm sure as he gets older, if he really wants to go to a location, I would take him one that I know is safe. But yeah, I mean, if he wants to get into the field, I would 100% support him and help him and probably give him the equipment I have now. And I'd be like, look, it's done a lot for me healing wise and justification that, when you lose somebody, that's not it, not lights out, you're done. And I think it opens your world and opens your eyes to so many things. So it's not just hunting ghosts. It's, you learn yourself on a different spiritual level. You learn to treat people differently. You learn to respect things that maybe you wouldn't have respected. So if he wants to do it, I'm like, yes, 100%, as long as you do it the right way.
I love how you just said that, because nobody's really brought through that aspect of paranormal investigation, what it does for you personally.
Yes.
I always hear the story, which I love the stories about how people got at, what makes them get into there. But that healing journey, nobody would think that, some reformer, some prison is going to heal your life or change your life that way.
Yeah. And like for me, I had that death when I was 7 years old. And for a long time, even though I had seen them, it was kind of anger. Like, why did I lose this person? God, why did you take them from me? Like, how could you? I'm a child. But then getting into the paranormal and seeing that there are intelligent responses and there are some residual, but it's like, okay, I know that I'm going to see this person again. I know that this person is okay. And, they're not feeling pain or hunger or sadness. And it's just, it's confusing.
I love that. Oh my God, Ashley, this has been so amazing to have you on. So amazing to do this. Where can people find you? I mean, Beyond Dimensions, where else?
Yes. So we do have a Haunted Travels Facebook that you can come find us at. And actually tomorrow I'm going to be announcing a new team member on the podcast. So you'll have to tune into that. Yes. So Jason and I founded the team with Jason Baker, and we have a brand new teammate, and we're super excited. So I'll be announcing them tomorrow. So Haunted Travels Paranormal Facebook, just Ashley Moreno on Facebook, and then also at Ashley Moreno, I think it's 04 on TikTok. And then Jason Baker Photography. You can find us on all of those different assets.
And before I let you go, because I forgot to ask about your podcast. Oh my gosh, you've had so much going on. I went,
I'm a busy lady.
Let's talk before I let you go, because I do have a few more minutes, but let's talk about that podcast. Oh my God, because I want people, I announce it every week. I've gotten to watch it a few times because my life is really busy. But let's talk about this podcast really quick.
Yeah, it's called Realm of Darkness. The beginning of it is mostly true crime, kind of like the intro to it. So people do get it confused. But we talk about everything that is a realm of darkness. So we talk true crime, we talk paranormal, we have talked religion versus paranormal. We've talked all kinds of different things. So it's, I'm the host of it, and I'm going to be bringing on special guests every so often. And I take recommendations. We've had a couple people reach out and for authors and things like that. And we just talk about all the weird, dark things that most people don't want to talk about.
Right.
And this light is going again. I don't know
what that light is killer. You don't even know.
It's like every time I mention something, it just goes crazy. So you're just going to slowly start seeing my room.
I love it because it's like every time it pops in, I'm like, she's talking truth. She's talking truth.
I planned it that way. No.
Yeah, you did. You're like, this is gonna seat me in it forever.
Yes.
I love that. And again, I want everybody to find you out. I want them to come. I want them to check out your website. I want them to check out your podcast because you are just so amazing.
Thank you.
And you know what? I want you to keep going, keep doing.
I'm trying. I am trying my best.
Keep being you, And thank you so much, Miss Ashley, for coming on. I appreciate you. Like I said to everybody out there, this is recorded. It's so weird recording because I'm so used to so many comments. I'm not seeing the comments, obviously, but please still leave them, guys. If you have any questions, Ashley's part of the station, so she'll see them.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
I will.
See them, and we'll either go back in and answer them right in our real time, and obviously not real time. And or reach back out to you. So everybody, please still do that, even though this is recording.
Yes.
And
thank you so much for having me on. It's been so much fun.
Oh, this has been a blast. We've been trying for so long, and I finally made it happen. I'm so excited.
I know.
Awesome. Well, you have a beautiful day, Miss Ashley. And for everybody else, thank you for staying with me and being here. And I will see you when I get back from Mexico, everybody. This is
fun.
I'm taking the granddaughter going to Mexico.
I want to go.
Oh, come on. Everybody else, this has been DeEtte here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB.com. Have a great day, guys.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.